Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd, and we are getting ready to read our first read aloud of the week. It's a really fun read aloud today, so I'm super excited, and it's got really cool pictures, so make sure you pay really close attention to the pictures. So before I start reading, we're going to go over our 5W retell. Remember, we use our 5 W's to help us remember what is in the story and what happened in the story. So let's go over our 5 W's really quick. So our first W is who. Who talks about who is in the story. So that's going to be where we talk about our characters. The second W is what. What happened in the story? Another word for this would be plot. We talk about what happened at the beginning, what happened in the middle, and what happened at the end. The third W is where. Where did the story take place? Another word for this would be the setting. Where did the story take place? Our fourth W is when. When did the story take place? Remember, the where and the when both go with setting. And the last W is why. This might be, why did the characters act a certain way? Why was there a problem? Why did the story end that way? So as I'm reading, I want you to be thinking and try to answer the 5 W's with this story. Okay, so last week, our stories talked about friendship. This week, our stories are going to talk about family. So we're going to be talking about the way that families treat each other and different things that families do to show that they love each other. So today's story is called Super, Completely, and Totally the Messiest. So I want you to look at this front cover. This character's name is Sophie, and you're going to learn in this story that Sophie is a little bit messy, and she's kind of crazy, as you can see. Now, her sister, Olivia, is going to be the one that actually tells the story. So Sophie in our story today is a little bit messy, but her sister, Olivia, is going to be the one actually telling us the story. So I want you to think about, why would Olivia be telling the story instead of our character, Sophie? So think about that as we read. All right, so our author today is Judith Viorst, and our illustrator, our pictures are by Robin Priest Glasser, and our pictures are really detailed, so I want you to make sure you really pay attention to our pictures. Now remember, as I'm reading, there will be little yellow Post-it notes on a couple of the pages. That's when you want to stop the video and take some think time to see if you can answer those questions to make sure you are understanding the story and you are comprehending. That means you are remembering what the story is about. All right, so today's story, Super, Completely, and Totally the Messiest. My room is very neat, like me, Olivia. So here we see Olivia. She's going to be the one telling the story, and she is Sophie's sister. Jake, my big brother, is sort of, but not a huge slob. And then there's my little sister, whose room is seriously, I mean seriously, revolting. Which is one of maybe a million reasons why my sister Sophie is super, completely, and totally the messiest. So we already have a question here, and our question says, how do you think Olivia feels about herself? Not about her sister. How do you think Olivia feels about herself? And our second part of this is, what do you think a slob is? She says that her brother is a slob. So pause the video and take some think time to think about those two questions. All right. Hello, is anyone home? I ask when I open the door to her room, because even when she's there, it's hard to find her. I mean, there's so much stuff on her bed that sometimes I just see the top of her head. And there's so much stuff on her floor and spilling out of her dresser drawers that sometimes all I can find is a nose or a toe. So see, she's here, she's over there. And there's so much stuff in her closet that once, when she opened up her closet, "Don't do it!" I hollered. "Stop! Watch out! Oh no!" She super, completely, and totally disappeared. Here's all the stuff falling out of her closet. See if you can find her in that picture. There's a lot of stuff in there. I mean, Sophie isn't just messy. She is the messiest. Maybe you think that Sophie isn't so messy when she's in school. If you think that, you would be really wrong. Maybe you think that she isn't a mess when she puts on a fancy dress and goes to a birthday party. If you think that, you would be really wrong. Maybe even you think that she could play with crayons or paints and not mess up ceilings and cats and herself and everything. If you think that, you would be so really, really wrong that it might be a year before you were right about anything. I'm her big sister, and some things I know for sure. And one thing I know for sure is that whatever Sophie does, she is the messiest. Like once we went to the seashore where they were having a sandcastle contest, and Sophie was carrying just her pail and her towel. Let's look at the pictures to see what happened here. Look at all the pictures and see if you can figure out what happened at the sandcastle contest. And just with her pail and her towel, she completely and totally wrecked 7 sandcastles. Uh-oh. Here's our question. What happened at the seashore? Pause the video and take some think time to answer that question. And once we went to a circus where a juggler was juggling eggs and pitchers and flower pots. Sophie got to bring her kite along. And just by letting go of her kite, Sophie wrecked the juggler and a dozen eggs and all of the pitchers and flower pots. And once we went to a farm to visit some chickens and cows and a vegetable garden and pigs. Sophie's shoelaces they're always untied. And all I can say is, poor chickens, poor cows, and poor vegetable garden. No, I can say something else. I can say that all of the pigs on that farm thought that my sister Sophie was their cousin. No, I'm not a rude person. I would never, ever, ever call Sophie a pig. I'm only saying that pigs think Sophie's a pig. I'm only saying this, that wherever my sister Sophie goes, she is completely, and totally the messiest. All right, so we have another question here. How has Olivia proven that Sophie is the messiest? So not only is Olivia telling us that Sophie is the messiest, but there's some different ways that she has explained to us that prove that Sophie is definitely the messiest. What are some of those ways? Pause the video and take some think time. I keep on telling Sophie, try to be neat like me, Olivia. She says she'll try to be neat, but she forgets. Our mom keeps telling Sophie, try to be careful like Olivia. She says she'll try to be careful, but she forgets. Our dad keeps telling Sophie, watch where you're going and watch what you're doing. Try to pay attention like Olivia. She says she'll try to watch. She says she'll try to pay attention, but she forgets. And so when Sophie cleans up a mess, it's a messier mess than it was before she started. When Sophie clears off the plates, they'll never, ever, ever need to be cleared off again. And if you bought a new car and you gave Sophie a ride in that car, it would look like a really old car in about 2 minutes. Sophie is always making and being a mess. So our question on this page says, how do the members of Sophie's family feel about her? And why do you think that Sophie is the messiest? So take some time to think, how does Mom feel about Sophie? How does Dad feel about Sophie? How does Olivia feel about Sophie? And why do you think Sophie is so messy? Pause the video and take some think time. Like last Halloween when Sophie decided to wear a nurse's costume. White hat, white uniform, white socks, white shoes. She wanted to dress like a nurse because I told her that a nurse is never messy. What I meant, of course, was a nurse isn't messy unless she's the sort of nurse who tricks and treats all over her white uniform. Unless she's a nurse who gets candy corn stuck in her teeth. Unless she's a nurse who falls in when she bobs for apples. Unless she's a nurse who could make you super, completely, and totally sorry that you ever answered the doorbell on Halloween. What I mean is, maybe you've met some messy people, but you've never met anyone messier than Sophie. Like, Sophie's got this hair, this frizzy, fuzzy, curly hair, and it sticks out around her head like a cloud or a nest. And it keeps getting bigger and higher and bigger and higher and bigger and higher because she freaks if anyone tries to cut it. Hey, Sophie, who's living in there? A couple of birds? A family of mice? That's what Jake sometimes says. He's only teasing. But once, when our dad was combing her hair, he combed out a whistle, a ring, and a piece of a sandwich. And once, when our mom was combing her hair, I thought I heard some chirping and some squeaks. If you're looking to see messy hair, if you're looking to see messy anything, just look at Sophie. I keep on telling Sophie, try to be more like me, Olivia. She says she'll try to be me, but she forgets. Our mom keeps telling Sophie, try to hold the plates tight like Olivia. She says she'll try to hold tight, but she forgets. Our dad keeps telling Sophie, wipe off your mouth and your hands and your shoes. Try to be unchocolatey like Olivia. She says she'll try to be unchocolatey, but she forgets. And just listen to what happened when Sophie said to Jake and me, could we please help her make our mom breakfast in bed for Mother's Day? No, she didn't spill the orange juice. Jake and I helped her pour it. She didn't burn the toast. We helped watch the toast. We also helped her to not smear the strawberry jam all over the kitchen and to not put a ton of cereal in the bowl. And our dad said he would make coffee and bring it up later, so Sophie didn't get to mess up that. Then all of us carefully carried the tray to the bedroom. Mom sat up in bed and we set down the tray. Then Sophie felt so proud that she had made our mom breakfast in bed that she climbed on the bed and started yelling, "Yay, yay!" Except that while she was yelling, "Yay, yay!" she also jumped up and down, which is not a good thing to do to breakfast in bed. It was super, completely, and totally ugly. Nobody's better at making a mess than Sophie. Our mom says I should tell you that Sophie's a kind and very nice person, even though she messes up breakfasts and beds. Our dad says I should tell you that Sophie's a smart and funny person, even though she wrecks sandcastles, jugglers, and vegetable gardens. Jake says I should tell you that Sophie's great at puzzles and dancing, even though she's not great at cleaning her room. Sophie says I should tell you that she didn't mean to drown the kitchen in water, even though she left the faucets running. And I would like to tell you that even though I would bet my best bracelet that Sophie will never be practically perfect like me, I'm hoping that one of these days she'll start to remember to stop forgetting to try not to be so super, completely, and totally the messiest. And our last question here. Even though Sophie is messy, she does have some good qualities. What are her good qualities? Again, pause the video and take some think time. Think about, even though Sophie's pretty messy and she does do crazy things, she also has some very good qualities. What are those good qualities? And that is the end of our story today. So as you are thinking about our story, I want you to go back to our 5 W's and see if you can answer each one of those W's. See if you can ask yourself, who was in the story? What happened in the story? What were the things that happened in the beginning? in the middle, and at the end. Where did the story take place? Where were they? When did the story take place? And the last one, why? Why was Sophie so messy? And why did her family feel about Sophie the way that they did? Okay, so as you are thinking about the story, make sure you are asking yourself about those 5 W's. Okay? Now, your writing prompt is going to be for tomorrow, for Wednesday. So you're going to watch this video on Tuesday, and your writing is going to be for Wednesday. So your writing for this video is going to be a picture and writing. So you're going to get to draw a picture of your room. Now, your room might not be as messy as Sophie's. It might be clean, and that's okay. But I want you to first draw a picture of your room. Then you are going to choose which character from our story you are most like. Are you most like Sophie? Are you most like Olivia? Are you most like Jake, the brother? Are you most like Mom? Or are you most like Dad? You're going to write a sentence that tells me which character you think you are most like and why. So you're going to say, I think I am most like blank because blank. And then you're going to make sure you draw and color a picture of your room. And you will turn that in, and then I will see you guys on Thursday for our next story. Okay, so remember, you can go back to this video and watch it if you need help. And if you can't remember who the characters are, you can go back into the story and listen again and look at the pictures. And also make sure you are asking yourself what those 5 W's were. And I will see you guys on Thursday for our next story.